They say time waits for no one. But once, in a quiet home somewhere in Japan, time didn't just pass. It danced. It sang. It told a story. This is the story of the Seiko Puppet Clock. A magical piece of history that didn't just tick. It performed. In the late 1980s, when most clocks simply told time, Seiko dared to dream differently. They created something more than a clock. They built a moment machine. Every hour, tiny doors would open. And from inside, a miniature world would awaken. Little puppets moved in perfect harmony. Some played drums. Some turned gears. Others simply danced to soft, whimsical melodies that filled the room with joy. It didn't matter where you were in the house. When the music started, everything paused. The television was turned down. The laughter softened. Even footsteps slowed, just to catch a glimpse of time doing something beautiful. In homes across Japan, and later across the world, these clocks became more than decor. They became part of the family. A child would wait eagerly for the top of the hour, eyes fixed on the clock. A grandmother, knitting in her chair, would smile at the familiar tune. The melody was more than sound. It was memory, woven into the rhythm of daily life. But the magic of the Seiko Puppet Clock wasn't born out of nowhere. It came from something much older. Japan's centuries-old tradition of karakuri, mechanical dolls from the Edo period, designed to move, pour tea, or write calligraphy, all powered without electricity. Just gears, weights, and wonder. Seiko brought that ancient magic into modern homes. With quartz precision, soft lighting, and timeless melodies, they gave families across generations a reason to smile every single hour. One of the most beloved models was the RE506B. Oval-shaped, elegant, and full of character. When the clock struck, its puppets would appear and move with charm, playing tunes like "When You Wish Upon a Star" or "Over the Waves." Another was the RY411S. Triangular, classic, with golden figurines who dance like they remembered every memory in your heart. These weren't just clocks. They were storytellers. They told you it was 3 p.m. But they also reminded you of your grandfather's laughter, of your mother's favorite tune, of your childhood dreams. As time passed, digital screens and smartwatches took over. Simplicity faded. Silence grew louder. But those who still own these clocks, they hear something the world forgets. That time is not just numbers on a screen. It's a feeling. It's movement. It's music. Today, the Seiko Puppet Clock is a vintage treasure. Collectors search for them in flea markets, online auctions, antique stores, not just for their rarity, but for the warmth they bring. Because even after all these years, when the hour strikes, and the puppets wake once again, it feels like the world pauses to remember what time used to feel like. If you've ever owned one, or if this story made you wish you did, you understand. Time can be beautiful. Time can sing. Time can dance. And if this little journey warmed your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us how magical the past still is. Subscribe for more vintage wonders and timeless tales. But what truly made these clocks unforgettable wasn't just the gears, or the puppets, or the melodies. It was the feeling they brought into a home. Imagine a cold winter evening. The family gathered around the dinner table, steam rising from bowls of soup. And then, a soft chime echoes through the room. The puppets awaken. The melody begins. And everyone turns to look. just for a few seconds. No one speaks. They watch. They smile. And in that quiet little performance, there's connection. Between people. Between generations. Between time. These clocks were like gentle reminders that even in a fast-moving world, there's always a moment worth pausing for. And across the globe, they found homes in places far beyond Japan. In quiet suburbs of the UK. In warm German kitchens. In French living rooms filled with books and wine. And even in American homes where the smell of apple pie filled the air. No matter the country. No matter the language spoken. These clocks didn't need translation. Their language was universal. Melody, movement, and emotion. There was something oddly human about them. The puppets didn't rush. They didn't stress. They just moved. Calm, graceful, joyful. As if reminding us how to live. Sometimes, time isn't the enemy. Sometimes, it's the friend who says, take a breath. You're here. You're living this moment. In an age before mobile phones ruled our lives. Before screens followed us everywhere. These clocks were the centerpiece. They were watched, loved, and remembered. And perhaps, that's why today, so many collectors and lovers of vintage treasure search for Seiko puppet clocks with such devotion. They aren't chasing a product. They're chasing a feeling. A memory. A piece of their childhood. A simpler time. Some families still keep theirs running. They clean it gently. They replace the batteries. They adjust the time with care. Because they know. They're not just fixing a clock. They're preserving a moment in history. And for those who find one today, maybe hidden in an old thrift shop, or passed down by a grandparent, the joy is instant. They bring it home, hang it on the wall, and wait for the top of the hour. Then it begins. The doors open. The melody plays. The puppets dance again. Just like they did 30 years ago. It's no longer just about telling the time. It's about feeling the time. Because some clocks just tick. But a Seiko puppet clock, it lives. And in that life, it reminds us all. Time is precious. Time can be magical. And sometimes, the most ordinary things, like a clock on the wall, can become the most extraordinary. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We bring you stories not just about history, but about the feelings that time leaves behind. Thank you for watching. And remember, the next time your clock strikes the hour, pause, listen. Maybe, just maybe, you'll hear a melody from the past.